The Trap Set will always be available for free, but we rely on donations from our listeners. Please visit our website at thetrapset.net and click donate. Subscribe to our show on iTunes, and if you enjoy what you hear, give us a review.
This is Joe Wong. Welcome to The Trap Set, where each week we explore the lives of drummers. I want to play something for you. You're hearing Beast by Ex Hex, featuring my guest, Laura Harris on drums. Formed in 2013, Ex Hex comprises three of the most uniquely talented musicians to emerge from the formidable Washington, D.C. rock scene. Harris's powerful, lean drumming provides the perfect foundation for the band's expertly crafted, concise pop songs. Aside from her work in Ex Hex, Laura has played with artists such as the Aquarium and Benjy Ferree. We spoke recently in Los Angeles after Ex Hex performed at the Coachella Music Festival. And now our conversation with Laura Harris.
I come from Virginia, like 45 minutes south of D.C. Kind of out like by the Civil War. It's like Civil War grounds, Manassas.
What did your parents do?
Well, my mom, it was a science teacher for like 35 years. She just retired. And
what grade level?
We're really proud of her. She taught 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
It was nuts. She had like all kinds of, lizards and stuff in her classroom all the time, and just like you could just go in there and she just had weird stuff all over the place. She was real cool. And then she taught for I guess she taught for like 30 years, and then she became the curriculum planner for the science department in her school, and then she moved on to become she became a curriculum planner for Fairfax County Science Department. So she worked in Fairfax County.
What does your dad do?
He's a real estate developer.
Like what kind of real estate? Commercial? Like
vacation. So he's always been in Ocean City. He's always worked in Ocean City and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay. So they were split up when you were growing up?
No, they're together.
Oh, they're together.
He just commuted. Like he commuted I guess he would be home Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday and Wednesday or something. He went back to, it was like he's had that same schedule since I was like really little.
Do you think he has another family in Myrtle Beach?
Man, the thought is definitely crossed. No, of course not. Not Myrtle Beach. I mean, he hasn't worked there since
Ocean City then.
The 80s. Yeah, Ocean City, Bethany. He went into business with his dad, who was a real estate developer, and they had this they built this like luxury apartment building called Maison sur Mer in Myrtle Beach. It was luxury then, like in the 70s. And my dad has 6 sisters, and they all swear that the Rolling Stones stayed there one night, and that they shimmied down the side of the building to like look at those guys. They said that. I don't know if it's true.
Okay.
But I can picture it. Seems cool.
They just looked at him?
I mean, I think that they said they met them. Their stories are all like, a jumble of, like lips and hair and little pants. Their story of the Rolling Stones, meeting the Rolling Stones.
What were some of the punk shows that you saw when you first started going?
It was just like DC hardcore stuff, you know. I guess it was like second gen or like, you know, like 90s DC hardcore stuff, you know. I saw like Hoover. I guess that isn't hardcore. Post-punk, punk. I don't know. The DC stuff. I'm trying to remember specific shows. There was a lot of shows at Black Cat when I was like, you know, 16 and 17. We'll go there and sit at the bar and just smoke cigarettes and order coffee, and I'm sure like piss everybody there off just ordering coffee all night long. You know?
Did you tip?
Probably not. Probably not. I don't know. I don't remember, but you know, I don't know. I saw. A lot of friends of mine were in bands, and I went to house shows a lot, and you know.
How did it change your outlook?
It was my outlook at that. Like after that, you know, for a long time, I just was completely consumed by that scene, that, you know, way of like taking music in, you know, it's just like it. I mean, it just was so much. There was that world was like so big that it was like one thing begat another, like one band, you know, like I still don't know anything about that music.
What do you mean?
There's just so much music. There's just so much punk music and so much like, you know, underground music and so much like, you know, it's just, there's so much not underground music. I don't know, you know, but for a long time I just wanted to see music in that capacity. I just wanted to see house shows and small shows, and I guess I kind of still do. I can't imagine. I haven't been to a stadium show in a long time.
We just saw Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
that's
true,
nights
but
ago.
that doesn't count because we're VIP, Joe.
How did you get into playing drums?
Well, my friends had a band in high school, and my parents lived so far out. They lived like, you know, so far away from like the main suburbs. We grew up on like 5 acres, and so my parents both worked, so we were latchkey, and so my friends, I was like, yeah, you guys should just practice at my parents' house. That way, you know, we could all just hang out, and so they did. They set their stuff up and practiced there, and then when my friend Ben would leave, I would just play his drum set for like hours. Because I always kind of like, I don't know, it's just like a natural thing to be like, I don't know, by myself doing something real physical like that. So.
Are you typically a pretty physical person?
Yeah.
Like, did you play sports and things?
Not successfully, but I swam not very well. But what I did do was rollerblade by myself every day.
Okay.
So, like, you know, I figure skated and I played ice hockey for a little bit, for like a brief time when I was like 12. But after that, I got this really nice pair of rollerblades, and we had like a really long street and a big cul-de-sac at the end of the street, and I would like get home from school and like have like a Walkman and go roll, like do just like all these tricks, like in the cul-de-sac, like until like 2 a.m., which is now it was like surrounded by woods, you know, and there was like no light. It's just like complete darkness. Now there's no way. I'm scared to like go outside.
Wait, what? Wait.
Not really, but you know, I just am like, I'm way more scared of the dark and stuff than I was.
Why?
I don't know.
Did something bad happen?
I mean, so many bad things have happened since then, Joe.
We're going to get into that. So the physical nature of drumming is what appealed to you at first.
Oh yeah, so it was just like I could go be by myself and like, bang around, and then.
Well, what were your aspirations? Was it just a way to blow off steam, or did you want to become a good drummer and join bands?
Well, once I figured out how to play a beat, which was to Bob O'Reilly. Mm-hmm. Once I figured out how to play that and how to accent like the cymbals, and I felt like I could get through most of the song till it got to that one part, and then I could just like kind of just bang through that part. So once I learned how to play a beat, then almost immediately, like my friends were like, "Let's start a band," and I just like kind of worked like that. So I had like a kind of a fake band with a friend of mine, and then I went to school in California for not even a full year.
Where'd you go to school?
To UC Berkeley for like a semester. And then
That's it?
That's it. That's all.
It's a hard school to get into.
Well, I got there and all I wanted to do was like go see music. And so I just ended up getting there. And the first night I was there.
Were you a Gilman Street fan?
I went to Gilman Street a couple times.
Were you a bottom of the hill person?
Yeah, I played basketball with Aaron Comet Bus.
What did you study?
I wanted to study. I mean, I studied. It was freshman year, so it was just all like entry level stuff. But
what did you want to do?
I wanted to be an archaeologist, which is like, it was not what expected it to be. I just wasn't ready to put forth the effort to do that. I was just too focused on music. That first night I got there, I landed and got my shit together, and then looked in the paper and went and saw Cradle of Filth.
So you went to UC Berkeley for one semester, and then what?
And then I just was bummed, and then bummed there because I was not playing music, and then I was kind of playing in joke bands, but then I came home, and then 9/11 happened, and then I was just kind of, I started working at the Black Cat, like really shortly thereafter, and
so you didn't go back to college?
No, not immediately. I went to community college for like maybe a semester, and I was like, this sucks too, and so I just started working at the Black Cat, and I met this guy Jason Hutto. Gangs. And so I was at one of their shows, and Jason was the bass player, and he came up to me and he said, "Oh, you play the drums?" And I was like,
What, you were insecure about
I just didn't.
your drumming?
I mean, like, I knew like 4 beats.
Well, how did he know that you played?
Someone told him.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how he knew, but I think maybe my friend Nate maybe told him.
You didn't feel like you were a legit drummer at the time?
Well, I felt like I could play with people, but then he gave me a demo, and it was this band called Olive Juice, and it was him and Ryan Nelson, and I listened. He was like, "Listen to this," and I put the CD in my car, and I was like, "Man, I can't play this." It was Ryan Nelson, so it was like, jazz. It was like jazzy, and Jason is a jazz guy, and I was like, "Why don't I don't even know what's going on here." So I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I can't play this. And then he was like, "I don't care. Just come over." And so
why do you think he was so persistent?
I don't know. I don't know. I think.
What did he see in you?
I don't know, man, because I was a real handful. But I don't know.
What do you mean you were a real handful?
I just would just bicker with him and stuff.
Why?
Because.
What was the crux of your disagreement?
I think it was just a dynamic that we had going on. He had this. I think he had an idea in mind, and I just wanted to I don't know. I just didn't want to just do it. His ideas were not there yet.
Right.
But they were awesome ideas. But I don't know what he saw in me. Maybe he just wanted to play with one other person. We didn't really know each other very well before we started playing, but we became really close. And I don't know. Maybe he wanted to simplify shit. It seems like something people do.
And what was the name of the band?
The Aquarium.
Was that the first band that you really toured with and recorded with?
Yeah, and we didn't really even tour. We went on like one tour. But yeah, it's the first band I ever recorded with.
And how did it come about? How did you know, okay, we're actually a band and we're doing this?
Well, I guess we had been playing a bunch, and in Jason's basement, and Jason was just like moving. He was like, well, we have these songs and we should record them. He could record stuff. He had everything set up in his basement. He's like a gadget genius, So like he had all this cool analog stuff in his basement and it's cool recording stuff. So we recorded a bunch of stuff on our own, and then we were trying to figure out what to do with it. And I think I was trying to remember this morning about how we ended up talking to Ian, because we were talking to a couple.
Ian Mackay.
Yeah, Ian Mackay. Because we were talking to a couple of our like local friends about putting out a record, and nothing really was clicking. We ended up recording it Inner Ear, sorry. And then nothing was really clicking. And then Ian, I think it was through Michael Fussell, maybe, but I had met Ian at Black Cat. I can't remember, I can't remember the exact way that it ended up working out, but we ended up talking to him. And so he was like, I'll put it out. And so.
What did that mean to you?
It was awesome. It meant that I like was part of this cool thing that was iconic and like had integrity and was awesome.
So you say you didn't really tour much?
Not with the Aquarium.
Why not?
Because I was like, I think because it was like a weird thing. It was like Jason was working a lot at the City Paper, and I was like, I guess I was working at the Black Cat a lot, and it was like the first time in my life when I was ever really making money, and I was like, I can't like give up. I was like in my early 20s, and I had all my friends.
You were bartending at the Black Cat.
I was bar backing.
Oh, bar backing.
Yeah, there's a difference.
What's that?
I said there's a big difference.
I know there's a difference, but I've been there when you were bartending
I'm
too.
kind of just joking, like it was like I'm a bar back, and then how long am I gonna have to wait to be a bartender? Like what?
So when did that happen?
It happened pretty fast, because when I started there, it was like 2000. It was 2002.
Yes.
And
at the time, I was a barista at Tryst.
Yeah, at the time you were a barista at Tryst with Lulu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like mid 2000s, that place got crazy with all like the, DC was being built up really fast.
Yeah. I feel like when I was there in the early 2000s, it was still kind of like a magical rock mecca, but
Mm-hmm.
over the subsequent decade or so, it's become more of a dance club in addition to whatever it used to be.
Well, it like when they moved to the bigger spot, like the old Black Cat, I still just remember it with like stars.
Yeah.
Like not celebrities, but like, I remember it like real starry and cool, and
It was magical.
It was magical. The record store in the basement, and but when they moved, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I guess it was, but shows too. I just remember bar backing, and like everything was it was these sold out shows where I was just like running up and down the stairs with cases of beer, and I couldn't stock anything fast enough, and everyone's just running their asses off, and it's crazy.
Bernie was running the joint.
With like a rolled cigarette and a like constantly with espresso.
Yeah.
Bernie. Yeah. And so it was crazy like that, and I just was like, I'm not leaving. But I didn't know what tour was like, so I didn't know how necessary it was and how,
Was that partially out of fear that you didn't? Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, it was the first time I could afford anything, car payments, it was the first time I could afford to as an individual pay for, not even whatever I wanted, but whatever I needed.
When fire comes like rain and all the fish float to the top of the sea. When animals start to talk, when a red horse begins to scream. It pours blood into every dream, turning midnight into daydreams. The water has turned to red. Someone you know might be dead. But that's not a nice thing to have said.
This episode of The Trap Set is brought to you in part by Colectivo Coffee, handmade coffee since 1993. Check them out online at colectivo.com.
How did you meet Benjy?
At the Black Cat.
He was working there too.
Yeah, he was working there too.
How did you and Benjy connect musically?
He was doing these shows in a mouse suit, and so he did a couple shows on the backstage, and we were friends, and I thought he was awesome and really special. And then I just thought he had this fantastic voice and these great songs, and so I started making flyers for him because he was like, "You can draw, you should make some flyers." And then he was like, "You should play drums. You should come over and play some drums, these ideas that I have." And once again, I was like, all right,
And then you guys fell in love and got married.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Well, I loved that guy really. I think we got married way later. We were together for 7 years before we got married. So it wasn't some whirlwind thing. We were so we got on Domino and we were touring with our friends. It was Amy Dominguez, Jonah, our friend Drew Mills, and and we just did we did one big European tour. I don't even think we did a huge US tour on that first record. But yeah, and so we just kind of we had been living together pretty much since we got together, and I don't know. It was just we just became I don't know, bandmates and pretty inseparable, and kind of our pretty everything was pretty fused,
Well, when did you and Benjy decide to get married?
We got married 2009. Yeah, 10/10/09. So I think that record came out and it was really kind of right around the same time. And I went back to art school, and so I was kind of graduating art school. And actually it was really right around the same time, because I remember being I gotta go on tour, and I'll probably take, I gotta
So you were graduating from school, your second record was coming out with Benjy, and
Yeah.
then you decided to get married.
Yeah.
Everything was happening.
Everything was happening. And I think it was and I was, I was working 2 jobs, bought 2 bar jobs, and it was just really, I was just really all right, let's do it,
Yeah.
Let's add it to the list, because we, I love you and we've been together, and, we should just do it, and we should do it like this. And I wanted to do it, I wanted my grandparents to be there, because, they're awesome, and I wanted them to meet all my friends, and I wanted them to see me, you know what I mean? It was pretty.
And then how did the relationship evolve from there?
Well, I think we got back from getting married, and then he went on. I guess at that point we were starting to figure out that like Domino wasn't pushing this record. So he went on. He was trying to figure out how to do a live show without all of us because he couldn't pay all of us, and I couldn't. I was like I can't go on this big long tour, if you're going on this big long tour, and so he like stripped it down, and just him and Drew went on tour together. They did a tour with the Black Hollies, and then it was just kind of like pretty. It was like us trying to figure out how to go, because it was kind of like they're not pushing it, and then finally they were like, just here's the record, take it, so. And so after that, we were like, all right, so now what do we do? And so that was like years of being like, what do we do now? And lots of like trial and error. And so, and then, we put out like a 7-inch, and then, then he really wanted to move to New Orleans. We had been to New Orleans a bunch and played there a couple times and visited a bunch, and it really like clicked with him, and he really loved it down there. And I just didn't. It's not that I didn't love it down there. It's just that I didn't see a place for myself down there, and I didn't want to be. I didn't want to just work at a bar and be his drummer. Yeah. So, and I almost went to grad school down there, but then I ended up not. So after that, I was like, well, okay, how's this gonna work? What am I gonna do? What is he gonna do? Like, how are we gonna make a band work? And we broke up, and he ended up going down there, and he just put out a record like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So it's like in his comfort zone, that environment, and I just felt like if I went down there, I would be like spinning out of control. You know what I mean? So, cause I was already like so spinning out of control in DC. Like what
way?
Like what are we gonna do with this music? How are we gonna make music? How are we gonna put out music?
So that was the focus, is the music.
The focus was the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it my imagination? Did you come out of the past? You had horses behind you, but I didn't want to ask. You're so independent.
Today's episode of The Trap Set is brought to you in part by our good friends at Revival Drum Shop. Revival is community-oriented, and they feature a one-of-a-kind collection of vintage and handmade custom drums, eclectic percussion, lessons, and rentals. They're truly one of the great drum shops of the world, and you can check them out the next time you're in Portland, Oregon, or online at revivaldrumshop.com. What was your next move? How did you center yourself after that stuff fell apart?
Well, it really helped that before that stuff fell apart, I got a call from Mary Timony, who was like, I have some ideas. Do you want to play? And I was like, fuck yeah,
Were you a fan?
Yeah, of course. And she, like, I had seen her, all her bands play, and she had seen Aquarium play, and she had the Aquarium open up for Wild Flag at Black Cat, and so we were like, yeah, I thought she was awesome. She was the best. And she played with Benjy for one show. Mm-hmm. She sat in guitar for one show. And so yeah, she was like, I have these ideas. And
how does the dynamic in Ex Hex work? How do you guys work together? Well, we like, I guess Mary or Betsy will come in with
with some ideas, and then I'll kind of just start playing along with them, or unless someone has like a real specific idea. Like sometimes Mary will be like, this part, I want just like some like Black Sabbath style shit, or this part is a part where you could like really go off and do some crazy Keith Moon stuff or whatever, but generally if someone just has an idea, then we'll kind of all mess around with it together, and then we'll like chop it up and put it back together, and chop it up and put it back together, and change it, mess with it.
When you wake up in the morning now, are you more or less happy?
Yeah. When I wake up in the morning now, I am. Because I have my own room in this Airbnb.
Okay, that's really specific.
When I wake up in the morning anywhere now,
at this phase in your life.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel like I want to work. That's what I feel like. I feel like when I wake up, I just want to, play more and, get better.
What does that mean to you?
Just have a bigger vocabulary. You know what I mean? Like, be able to pull off the stuff in my head, not effortlessly, but not. I just want to practice, I want to practice and be able to pull off the stuff in my head whenever I want to. I want to be fluid, and so that's kind of like my goal with drumming, with practicing that stuff. It's just like practicing rudiments and stuff, just so that if you hear something, you can do it, because I mean, I love like abstract art as much as the next guy, but there's, what I mean?
Depends on who that next guy is.
But as much as that next guy.
Yeah.
But there's something real cool about those like huge. I'm not saying that I want my drumming to be huge and grandiose.
You don't?
I don't know, maybe. I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be something that it's not. But something that it's not also means not knowing what the fuck I'm doing and being real stiff and insecure, like not having it come naturally out of you.
Well, should we go get some kombucha and play some drums?
Yeah.
Well, Laura Harris, thank you so much for doing this.
Jawong.
What?
Jawong.
The Trap Set is produced by me, Joe Wong, along with Chris Karwowski, who also edits the program. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Trap Set, and visit our website, thetrapset.net, to subscribe to our show for free. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please donate to our show. If you can't afford to donate, please tell a friend and give us a good rating on iTunes. Send your feedback and guest requests to thetrapset@gmail.com.